Stupid polices. So early last year I have started working for a small transport warehouse company here in the UK. As I had changed professions, I had to be trained from the ground up. But the MD's son hit off from the moment we met at the interview and was determined to get me on the team. I was given an afternoon shift, which meant I got to learn the trade both the proper way from the day shift and the backdoor kinda way from the night shift. Now it is important to point out that it is both our company policy and a contract with our clients that if we were to require any third-party trailers for loading outside haulier that is not part of the company, we had to contact them by email and await a reply. Night shift being night shift, you usually do not end up getting a reply until about 6 o'clock next morning when the day shift starts. This meant that if we wanted to load anything on third-party trailers, we had to find our own way. Now my personal way of life was always to help everyone out, as when you need something from them, they usually are happy to provide. There was one third-party haulier which loaded with us quite often, and the night shift manager often used to ring us to find out if we loaded anything they was to pick up in the morning. We'll call them Fusion Transport. I ended up doing them quite a lot of favors over the months, whether it was loading stuff earlier, arranging for them to come at a specific time and get turned around within few minutes. The only problem is that we have multiple clients in our warehouse, let's call them A and B. I've met and almost always helped Fusion in regards to our client B, but they often did work for our client as well. The only problem was that the two clients have been contacting two different depots of Fusion Transport, and I was not allowed to leverage my contact there if I needed something for client A. This is where the fun starts. Just a few days before Christmas last year, on a Sunday, our client A has informed us that they had just agreed a load going to one of their biggest customers. The load was supposed to be delivered at 3 o'clock Monday morning, and we had been informed at 2200 on a Sunday evening. Mind you, on Sunday afternoons all of the warehouse crew finish at 1800 and don't get back in until Monday at 6 o'clock, so I was there alone, just manning the office. Conversation went something like this: CA, so we've just sent you an order info for an urgent load that's got to be delivered in 5 hours time. Me, well, I'm alone here at the moment, but if you are desperate for it, I can go out and assemble and load the trailer myself. I just need you to send a driver down with a trailer so that I can load it. CA, well, that's the problem. It is being taken by Fusion Transport and they only agreed to it if they can arrive at your place and pick up the trailer, otherwise they won't make it in time for delivery. Me, well, fair enough. But first of all, we have none of their trailers here, and even if we did, I can't move one onto a loading bay myself. Have you got one down at your place one of your drivers could bring so it is ready? CA, nope, we've got nothing. Yes, I know what you are going to say. Our planning department is a load of bollocks. Me, about right. Is this desperate then? CA, if we don't deliver in time, there will be quite a large fine. Me, him right, leave it with me. At this point I thought, fuck it. If they are that desperate for it, I'm gonna venture slightly outside the policy and request help from my fella down at Fusion. So I called him up and explained where I stand. He went silent for a few minutes and then told me, FT, you know what, pal? You've done me quite a few favors recently, so it's about time I paid back. I'm gonna send one of my drivers with a trailer you need and a couple of fellas to give you a hand doing so. How does that sound? Me, you're having a laugh, aren't ya? FT, no buddy, I'd say that puts us about equal. And he did exactly as he promised, and about half an hour later I had a driver with a trailer and 3 other guys to help me load it. It was ready just in time for the other depot of Fusion Transport to collect it. I rang up our client and told it the order had been loaded and was on its way to the customer. He praised me for working miracles and we left it on that. Next day afternoon I come into work only to be greeted by the GM and MD himself, both asking me how TF did I pull it off, as they had spoken with our client and they knew we had no trailers to load it on and they couldn't provide any either. I explained to them what had happened and how I got it done. What kinda took me by surprise was that instead of at least a nod of approval, I had been bollocked for breaching company policy. Unhappy, I returned to my duties, but I kept it in the back of my mind for a future reference. Boy oh boy did I have a grin on my face when in early January I received a nearly identical phone call on a late Sunday night. But this time I was going to do it properly. I composed a quick email to confirm we had received an order and that we urgently required a Fusion transport trailer to load it on. I ensured the copy and as many people in management as possible, including both the GM and MD. About an hour after that I get a call from my GM asking me how am I doing with this order. I calmly proceeded to explain to him that due to well-foreseen circumstances I was unable to load anything as I did not get a trailer for it. He was furious and he hung up on me. About 10 minutes later he and MD both walk into the office and proceed to question me on why the hell I cannot get one thing done. So I put on my special face reserved for moments like these and said, "Me. Well, as I had it pointed out to me last time, I am to strictly follow company policy in situations like these. I have requested a trailer and I'm awaiting response from client A. GM. But you know they cannot provide you with one." Me. "I am well informed of this fact, sir. However, our policy states we can only request trailers from them. Unless, of course." This is when I put my hands together and started rotating my thumbs around each other like a hunter waiting on his trap to trigger. GM was fuming at this point. MD just looked at him, then at me, and went, "MD, can you get a trailer sorted through one of your contacts?" Me. "Possibly. But GM won't be happy about me breaching the policy again." MD. "Screw him. You've got my permission. If he has anything against it, I'll take it on personally." So I proceeded and rang my contact. He was happy to provide me with trailer as he had a driver in my area who had just finished a job. I turned around and told them that we'll have the trailer on site shortly, but that due to the time wasted I would not have time to load in time for collection. GM just looked at me confused, but the MD started to understand what I was hinting at. I wanted them to load the trailer with me. The best thing was that we use electric pallet riders, which you need to qualified to ride, even though they are a piece of cake to use. This meant that my so-called helpers had to use the old-fashioned pump trucks to move the pallets around, which is not fun when the pallet weighs just under a ton. I will never forget the struggle faces that pulled as they was pushing the pump truck around the warehouse and I was just zipping around them on my electric pallet rider. To this day I was never questioned in how I do my work and what backdoors I use to get it done efficiently. I worked third shift in a warehouse and we had similar techniques, especially loading trailers for drivers that knew to come in before first shift to get on the road before heavy traffic and before our buyer book supervisor arrived for her shift. This is amazing. I have a very mild ability to see the future. One of these days he is going to ask you to do this and throw you under the bus. Get those instructions in writing from here on out. Friend, verbal orders are worth no more than the paper they're written on. Serve them right. No, they understand what it takes to get your job done and will keep their mouths shut.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Aircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.